In this video, I'm gonna tell you everything that I learned after making $6,000 a month at just 20 years old selling cars. Yes, cars. So with that being said, I'm gonna give you guys a short story how I actually did it, and on top of that, why I wanted to start selling cars in the first place and the things that I learned. Now, once I'm done telling you guys this story, I'm gonna give you guys a full 6 bulletproof list of advice that I would give you guys and what I learned to actually impact you guys financially and overall in your entrepreneurship journey, since I do believe sales goes hand in hand with entrepreneurship and business building. So with that being said, sit back, grab your popcorn, and let's lock in. Now, when I turned 18, if you guys know nothing about me, as soon as I got out of high school, I ended up finding out that, lo and behold, I had a daughter on the way. Now, this was probably one of the scariest things for me because at the end of the day, I just didn't want to end up like everybody else. I had multiple friends who had kids early, and as soon as I found out, my heart dropped. Because at the end of the day, I didn't know how I was going to take care of this responsibility. You know, it's not like I can just walk away from this and everything is going to be fine. And for me personally, I decided not to go to college. Now, the reason being is because I just wanted to step up to the plate and I wanted to prove to myself that I had what it takes to actually show my daughter a better life than I had. Now, growing up, I didn't really have both of my parents in the same household, but I did have a village. Now, I also had my religion as well, which is Islam, and I learned everything that I know right now as far as my potential, as far as what I believe, and also how I move and how I treat others from my religion and from the household that I was raised under. Now, shortly after, I actually started working at a factory and I was getting around $8 an hour. And working at a factory, I just learned all the ins and outs of how a factory worked, just subconsciously. It's like I wasn't paying attention to the business structure, but I understood that this wasn't the best way to spend my time. So what I realized is that why not just go for sales? Like at the end of the day, it's commissions. And the first sales job that I ever got was selling direct TV inside of Sam's Club. Like, yeah, I was one of those people that people ran away from as soon as they came into Sam's Club because I was trying to get their cable bill lower. Now, I thought a lot of people thought I was cringe, and they definitely did because a lot of my friends laughed at me, but I learned so many things from that one sales job that catapult me into the car sales industry. Now, I was actually working for one of those marketing companies, and I went from an employee and ended up getting promoted to marketing development manager, where I had like 3 people on my team and I was training them on sales, and I was doing all this at 19 years old. So you can probably tell I was working really, really hard. Now, going up in the price of the type of products that you're going to sell actually does increase your overall commissions depending on the industry. So I went from selling cable to selling cars. The very first car dealership I started working at that accepted me was Mitsubishi. Now, the reason it was so crazy for me is because number one, I had only heard about Mitsubishi through Fast and Furious. So I was like, oh my God, these cars are fire. Let me go ahead and do it. And I ended up noticing that Mitsubishi was on a massive decline. We were barely having clients come in, but I was one of those people who understood that it was a process that I needed to go through, and I needed to really learn how to build relationships in the new industry. But I also had to learn about cars, which I knew nothing about, right? So during this whole entire time that I was working at Mitsubishi, I still had my do-rag business on the side called Snag-A-Rag. If you guys have ever watched any of my videos, it's a do-rag company I started after delivering do-rags locally in my city. Now, it's time for me to actually tell you guys these 6 things that I learned that are, I think, the most important things that any individual needs to know before jumping into entrepreneurship and why you should jump into sales. First reason I think you should jump into sales in order to become a great entrepreneur. Because again, sales and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. And if you learn how to master sales, or at least how to communicate, then you'll start learning that it's a lot easier to really build a business once you understand how to communicate and how to market, and also how to build a product that's actually good. So the first thing that I learned that I feel like every single person needs to know is how to take no's. How to take no's. You see, I had to pitch all the time at DirecTV, but I also had to sell to people who were just window shoppers, who were also just looking at other competitor cars. And I had to learn how to take no's. The reason this is important is because I had to learn how to fall and get back up. And in business, that's all this is falling and getting back up and falling and getting back up. Because if you ever looked at life, it's just a series of different problems, and they're just different levels to the problems. The people who are billionaires have completely different problems than the person who's poorer has a completely different, problem than the person who's in the middle class. And that's just the way the world is. Now, the second thing that I actually learned was how to build rapport. Instead of always asking the simple salesman questions, I started asking about who this person was. You see, when you're getting into sales, it's important for you to learn the prospect more than you actually know the product. Because if you can tailor the product to the prospect specifically, then it'll be 10 times easier for you to sell to them. That's one of the best things that you can possibly do, because when you're building a product, you want your product to stand by the customer side as a solution for them, then it's going to be extremely difficult for you to sell to them and actually communicate in the ways that they will be able to reciprocate the communication. All right. Now, the third thing that I ended up learning is how to really study a product, how to really understand body behavior and psychology. You see, understanding your product is extremely important, but understanding psychology is probably even more important. Understanding how to communicate to these individuals, understanding their pain points, understanding how to remember their pain points, but more importantly, when you know their pain points, how to match it up with the product that you sell as a solution. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people make impulsive decisions, but also a lot of people make strategic decisions. Now, the more important things about this is the psychology portion, which is really learning a person's brain, their body behavior, how they sit, how they react, how they speak, learning how to change your pitch, learning how to slow down, learning how to speed up, your tones, your attitude. All of these things played a massive part in my performance in being able to make $6,000 a month selling cars. But for any other person, I don't know about today's economy, but $6,000 a month is pretty much life-changing if you went from $2,000 a month. So with that being said, don't increase your living expenses. Don't go out there and buy a Benz and all these different things. Live below your means and keep stacking. The next thing that I learned was how to close. Can I tell you something, guys? Like, learning how to close can potentially change your life. Whether you're closing a multi-million-dollar deal on a house, or whether you're closing a multi-million-dollar insurance deal, or whether you're just closing people on a coaching package, or you're closing people on cars. Whatever it is, learning the art of selling and learning the art of closing is very, very important. And what I can say about closing is that you got to get past the fear of asking for the sale. But a lot of people are scared to actually put a price on something. And this was how I was able to increase my commissions, because I just understood my product, I understood how to sell, I understood how to close, and I also understood how to have an additional markup to increase my personal commissions. And I tried to sell people on the payment plans instead of the overall price of the product, which changed the game for me. Now, the last thing that I learned that I think you guys would probably appreciate the most is overcoming objections. Hey, I don't have the money right now, or I just want to think about it, or I don't know if I really need to do this right now. I don't think I need another car. These ways of, trying to throw smoke screens in the way of not buying has been one of the best things that I could possibly learn throughout my entire life, because now I can kind of like hand pick and literally look through a person and pick out the things that they might be lying about and insert a response that will help them see like, oh, well, maybe this is a good decision. Oh, maybe I should just make this decision today, or why do I have to think about it, right? So all of these things are things that I learned, and overcoming objections is definitely one that's very important, especially if you're going to be in a business where you have to have closers, or you have to have a sales team, or you have to go out there and sell. You have to learn, if you're like, you sell a body butter and you're doing a pop-up shop or something. And these are the 6 things that I learned after working at a car sales job from 19 all the way up to 21, where I ended up stop working a job forever. And with all that being said, these 6 things I truly believe will impact you and your entire life. So with that being said, if you guys like this video, leave a subscribe. And before you click off of this video, if you like videos like this one in particular, let me know down in the comments. Have you ever worked at a sales job? And if so, let me know which one and what was your experience like. So with that being said, my name is Dontez Akram. I hope you guys like this story, and I also hope that you guys like these 6 tips that I gave you guys on how I made $6,000 a month. And I will catch you guys in the next video that's popping up right here. So go click it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.